Just kiss me. Your ears stick out so much. I could use them as antennas.
I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless.
Margot Robbie just exploded, declaring she can't stand Will Smith anymore. In the shiny world of Hollywood, where everything seems perfect, something big just happened. One of the biggest stars has finally spoken out, saying she's fed up with Will Smith. What could have made her reach this point? What secrets are hiding behind the glamorous lives of celebrities? Get ready as we dive into the stormy side of fame and find out what really drives stars like Margot Robbie to their breaking point, exposing Hollywood's hidden dynamics. One moment that really got people talking was a photo booth picture where Margot lifted her shirt while standing next to a shirtless Will. This image became a hot topic, making many wonder if there was more to their relationship than they were letting on. Yet people close to them insisted that it was all in good fun and nothing more than a professional friendship. But there's a lot more than meets the eye as Margot realizes who has been hiding behind the mask all along. Margot was always clear that she didn't date fellow actors, choosing to keep her private life away from Hollywood drama. Still, her connection with Will kept people intrigued and guessing. When they worked together again in Suicide Squad, it only made everyone more curious about every move they made, whether real or imagined. As their playful banter continued, many thought it was just a front, hiding a deeper, more complicated relationship. The constant media attention added stress, showing just how hard it can be for celebrities to balance their public image with their personal lives. By diving into this story, we uncover more about how celebrity relationships work, the secrets behind the scenes, and how the public often turns a simple friendship into something much bigger than it is. This isn't just about entertainment. It's a look into the real struggles of those who live their lives in the spotlight. Will Smith's journey to fame in Hollywood has been filled with both praise and controversy. Jim Carrey, a fellow actor, has been quite vocal about his thoughts on Smith's path to stardom. Carrey's comments came after a big moment at the 94th Academy Awards, where Smith's actions took center stage. During the ceremony, Smith shocked everyone by slapping Chris Rock after Rock made a joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who suffers from alopecia. He said he was disturbed by what happened at the Oscars, particularly by how the audience reacted afterwards. Despite the altercation, Smith received a standing ovation and was awarded Best Actor for his role in King Richard. Carrey saw this as part of a bigger problem in Hollywood, which he described as lacking integrity and courage. He believed that Smith's actions and the applause that followed highlighted deeper issues in Hollywood's power dynamics. Carrey suggested that Smith's ongoing success in the industry's protection of him might be due to secret agreements and alliances behind the scenes. He criticized Hollywood for not taking stronger action against Smith, questioning why the incident was allowed to go unchecked. New challenges surface, complicating the life of a well-known star. The strange forces shaping Hollywood's elite. Carrey's view was clear. Physical violence should have no place on such a huge global stage, no matter the reason. Gayle King pointed out that Chris Rock chose not to press charges. Carrey responded by saying, Rock likely didn't want to deal with the complications of a legal battle. He also noted that the incident, caught on camera, would remain in people's minds for a long time. But this wasn't the only concern. The event led to more speculation about hidden influences and activities within Hollywood. There were already rumors that Smith might have used questionable methods to climb to the top, with insiders hinting at secret dealings. Smith's former assistant, someone who knew him well, shared even more troubling information, suggesting there could be more to Smith's story than meets the eye. At the same time, Jada Pinkett Smith was open about the struggles in their marriage, revealing that she and Will had been living apart for several years, despite keeping up appearances. All these events and revelations painted a complicated picture of Will Smith, a Hollywood star caught in both personal and professional challenges, shaping how both the public and insiders view his character and career. In 2016, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith decided not to attend the Oscars, joining other well-known Hollywood figures. They were upset because the Oscar nominations seemed to overlook diverse talents, sparking the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite campaign. Even though Jada made her reasons clear, Chris Rock, who was hosting the Oscars, decided to joke about her decision during the show. He compared her not attending the Oscars to him not being invited to an event that didn't concern him, implying it wasn't a big deal. He also joked that it wasn't fair Will gave such a strong performance in Concussion and didn't get a nomination, but still got a big paycheck for another movie. While Chris joked about it on stage, Jada later said she understood he was in a tough spot as the host. She felt she should have reached out to him earlier to show support, even though she didn't agree with the Oscars. They eventually talked things out over a phone call and apologized to each other, clearing the air. But this wasn't the most surprising thing that happened. Rumors were flying around about Jada and Will's marriage, creating confusion. At one point, Chris, not knowing what was really going on, even asked Jada out, thinking they were splitting up. Jada had to set the record straight, explaining they were still married, but just dealing with rumors. Turns out Jada and Will were still together, but had chosen to live separately since 2016, which was a way for them to handle their marriage without actually divorcing. Jada shared this openly in interviews, adding even more layers to the public's curiosity about their relationship, especially since their lives are so out in the open. Jada Pinkett Smith recently shared that while her marriage with Will Smith hasn't ended officially by law, it was emotionally over a long time ago, as Hoda Kotb pointed out. Jada admitted that she and Will had been living separately for a while. When asked why they hadn't made their split public, Jada explained that they weren't ready and were still trying to figure out how to move forward and communicate this change to the world. At the same time, Will Smith was getting a lot of attention due to rumors about his romantic connections with different people throughout his career. These stories have sparked a lot of public talk, and there might be some truth to the saying, "Where there's smoke, there's fire." Will himself has hinted that he might have been looking for a way out of their marriage. More secrets come out, adding twists to the Smith story. Will and Jada's separation tragedy. Jada had reached a point where she considered her relationship with Will over, marking a clear end to their personal union. The Smith family has navigated a series of complex and challenging circumstances, both in their private lives and under public scrutiny. For an extended period, there were persistent whispers about Will's clandestine relationships, which added strain to the family's dynamic. It was eventually made public by Jada that, although they had not pursued a legal divorce, she and Will had been living separately since 2016. This revelation came 7 years subsequent to the release of 6 Degrees of Separation. In this film, Will portrayed a charismatic fraudster. The movie became a topic of conversation, particularly when a scene featuring a kiss between Will and his co-star, Anthony Michael Hall, was omitted from the final cut. This decision fueled widespread speculation regarding Will's motivations for its removal. But that wasn't the only rumor. Some have suggested that Will avoided that scene to prevent any controversy about his intimate violence orientation. These stories have persisted for years, with many details still unclear. Even though Will had denied these rumors in the past, he later said in a 2020 interview that he was fully committed to his role in the movie. Around that time, Tisha Campbell also accused Will of having an affair with her ex-husband, Dwayne Martin. She hinted at this on Instagram, suggesting that the truth would eventually come out. When one of her followers thanked her for speaking up, she replied that lies would continue until the truth was revealed. Her use of capital letters in the word Will made many think she was referring to Will and Jada. But this wasn't the only controversy. YouTuber Trisha Paytas accused Will of inappropriate behavior towards some of her male dancers, claiming he acted against their will. She also criticized Jada for not addressing certain family issues, including Will's alleged infidelities. This situation has been compared to Quincy Jones, a well-known music producer with his own history of rumors about his personal life. All these events paint a picture of a complex and challenging situation for the Smith family, with many layers and connections to others in the entertainment industry. In Chicago during the 1930s, new information has come to light, suggesting that Quincy Jones may not have always followed the typical social paths of his time. There are surprising claims that he had a lot of influence over the personal choices of famous people like Will Smith and Tupac. Some of these claims suggest he was closely connected with the LGBTQ+ community. Remember that memorable interview with Tupac? It was a key moment when Tupac talked about some controversial suggestions from Quincy Jones, which seemed like invitations to certain private activities. Even though this interview spread widely online, it suddenly disappeared, leading many to believe Quincy, with his significant connections, might have had something to do with it. Without Tupac here to clear things up, it's not surprising Quincy would want to distance himself from such stories. But that wasn't the end of it. Napoleon, who was a close friend of Tupac, quickly stepped in to deny these claims, standing up for Quincy against all the rumors. What makes this more interesting is that Tupac was engaged to Quincy's daughter during this time, adding another twist to the story. And there's more. People are talking about unusual gatherings that Jada and Will Smith are said to have hosted at their home with much younger men attending. Jaguar Wright has even shared that she saw young men leaving their house looking upset. It's also been whispered that these events often push the boundaries of what most would consider normal, with some guests feeling quite uncomfortable afterward. Old rumors mix with new accusations, stirring more drama. The Quincy Jones strange theory. Some think that Quincy Jones himself may have sparked the curiosity about the Smiths' private gatherings. As a well-known figure in the music world, Quincy has shared many stories over the years, some of which have been quite surprising. For example, in an interview with Vulture magazine, he revealed that famous people like James Baldwin, Richard Pryor, and Marvin Gaye were queer. He didn't stop there. He even spoke about Marlon Brando's charm and unexpected romantic choices. These revelations caused a lot of debates, with some people questioning why Quincy was sharing such personal details about others, especially when he had kept many parts of his own life private. When Quincy was 70, there were rumors that he had close relationships with other men, hinting that he might have been keeping his same intimate violence interest private for a long time. Some believe Quincy was a protector in the entertainment world. Known for shaping the careers of many black musicians, Quincy Jones has also been linked to underground groups, as claimed by conspiracy theorist Professor Griff. Griff pointed out that Quincy was involved in secretive activities in Hollywood, mentioning strange ceremonies that supposedly took place. The connection between Quincy Jones, Tupac Shakur, and Quincy's family was filled with a lot of emotions and tough conversations. It all started when Tupac criticized Quincy for his relationships with white women, saying that these choices had a negative impact on Quincy's children. Rashida Jones, Quincy's daughter, didn't take this lightly and defended her father, pushing back against Tupac's harsh comments. But this wasn't the end of the story. As time passed, things began to change. Quincy talked about a time he confronted Tupac, which led to Tupac apologizing. This apology opened the door to a new, unexpected friendship between them. Their bond grew even closer when Tupac got engaged to Quincy's other daughter, Kidada, calling her his soulmate until his tragic death in 1996. Kidada has often talked about how deep her connection was with Tupac, especially on that terrible night in Las Vegas when he was shot. She described the fear and shock she felt, her deep grief when she was handed Tupac's blood-stained clothes at the hospital, and the overwhelming sadness she experienced when he passed away so suddenly. But there was more to the story. Quincy also addressed various rumors that created a controversial image of his relationship with Tupac. He firmly denied any inappropriate behavior, emphasizing how absurd those rumors were, especially since Tupac was about to marry his daughter. Quincy expressed how hurtful these baseless accusations were, as they tried to tarnish his character and his bond with Tupac. Yet despite all the challenges, the relationship between Tupac and the Jones family changed from conflict to mutual respect and love. Even though they faced controversy and loss, their story shows how they were able to move past their initial disagreements and grow closer, remembering Tupac as a cherished member of their family. But this wasn't the worst of it. The misunderstandings they faced were just the beginning of a deeper journey. Adding to the mix, the late actress Alexis Arquette suggested that Will Smith's ex-wife caught him in an intimate moment with another man, which led to their divorce. Alexis hinted at this while discussing Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's current wife, suggesting there were hidden secrets in their marriage. When asked, Jada didn't say much, and Will didn't comment on it either. Will's first wife, Cherie Zampino, defended him strongly, saying there was no truth to the claims and expressing her anger over the situation. More rumors heat up, casting doubts on deep relationships. Will's complex relations. These claims stirred up a lot of talk among fans, with some thinking Cherie's defense seemed a bit too intense, leading them to wonder if there might be some truth to the rumors. Over time, there have been ongoing whispers that Jada might also be hiding her own same intimate violence interests, a topic that continues to be speculated on. The close friendship between Will and another celebrity, Dwayne, has also fueled gossip, with some suggesting their bond might be deeper than what the public sees. Carlton was seen on TV again, behaving inappropriately. Not long after that, attention turned to his actions as he got caught up in another controversy. Reports from celebrities say that Will and Dwayne have been taking several trips together, visiting popular spots like Las Vegas and Miami. There are even rumors about a private cruise they took to Trinidad. Meanwhile, Tisha and Jada were said to have stayed home. People who were there say that during a meal at a Caribbean restaurant, it was obvious that Will and Dwayne were very close. They arrived and left together. Someone else mentioned that Jada isn't happy about Will's frequent luxury trips with Dwayne. She feels left out and lonely at home. Some think this is all just a ridiculous attempt to get money, with some considering legal action. Jada reportedly struggles to watch Will show off his friendship with Dwayne, which is becoming more and more public. But this isn't even the worst part. Rumors are spreading that Will and Jada's 14-year marriage is in trouble. An insider says their relationship has taken a hit because Will spends so much time with Dwayne, adding a lot of stress. Jada is particularly worried about Dwayne's involvement in several high-profile scandals that have grabbed media attention. All this is fueling speculation about their personal lives, but they haven't talked about it publicly, despite hints and comments from people both online and offline. To add to the drama, comedian Bert Kreischer shared his experience in an interview. He talked about a strange offer from Will's company for an audition, which led to an awkward encounter with Will himself. Bert remembered Will seemed eager to spend more time with him, even suggesting they go see a movie. However, Bert's dad warned him that it could be a setup. Bert also mentioned a pattern among famous men in Hollywood who seemed to want to relive their younger days. This brings us back to Will and similar rumors about Diddy, who is said to introduce young musicians to questionable activities. There isn't any direct proof of Will being involved, but these ongoing discussions keep the issue in the spotlight. But things took another turn when people discussed the infamous incident where Will slapped Chris, another celebrity. Carrie, a fellow star, suggested it might have been caused by inner turmoil. She wished Will well, but said it was a bad moment that overshadowed other important events. Did Will's actions reflect a deeper Hollywood issue? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.